Well, Deb Murphy filed this story for Sierra Wave Media. Jake Rasmussen of Bishop Real Estate had the simple answer to Bishop's downtown issues, remnants of Field of Dreams. It's the aesthetics. If downtown looks vibrant, people will come. But the weightier question at last Friday's workshop with the Bishop City Council members, staff, realtors, and community members was, how do you get to vibrant? Stan Smith of Pleasant Valley Associates urged the Bishop City Council to hold the sessions with realtors when the city started talking about vacancy ordinances. The 2-hour session was lively, but opened up at least one can of worms. What's going to happen if or when Inyo County vacates its Bishop offices and moves to a new county building north of town? Randy Pritchard of Eastern Sierra Realty anticipated the move would open up 40 more vacancies. Add that to the existing and highly visible vacancies and you've got a real problem. Both Bishop Mayor Karen Schwartz and Bishop City Planner Elaine Kabala defined the session as an initial conversation. By email, Kabala added, "We heard support for more flexible, mixed-use zoning concerns regarding the appearance of downtown, while participants were skeptical of the value of a registry for vacant buildings. There was support for a mechanism to inform potential entrepreneurs on what is available for rent and what improvements need to be made." Now, Planner Kabala explained that registries are a common tool for cities pursuing economic development. A registry doesn't need to come with fines or fees, she said. Now, the same skepticism applied to a vacancy ordinance. Stan Smith's solution was to simply go after unpermitted uses of some of the vacant storefronts. Another fix would be a rezone to avoid conditional use permits that could result in a hodgepodge of uses. Now, there was strong support for a mixed use that would include conversion of some or parts of commercial buildings into residential. If we do have residential zoning downtown, that could push the demand part of the supply and demand equation, noted Randy Pritchard. Now, the city is pursuing grant funding for a consultant to work toward a mixed-use zoning change, but that could take up to 2 years. Now, facade improvement and low interest rates for building infrastructure improvements have been on the table through a number of other community workshops. Now, one long shot are opportunity zones, the part of the current federal tax bill that remove capital gains tax when the profits are put into investments in those zones. Both Bishop and Lone Pine have been identified as opportunity zones. Deb Murphy writes, okay, there weren't any decisions or magic wands, but the conversation was kicked into high gear. Deb Murphy also filed this story noting if Mono County Supervisor Fred Stump didn't make his position on specific groups joining the Owens Valley Groundwater Authority Board as voting members clear enough at last month's meeting, Mono County Supervisor Stump doubled down Monday afternoon, objecting on ethical terms. This is an ethical issue, Stump said at the end of the discussion on letters to be sent to potential associate members and interested parties in order to gauge interest. I'm against votes for government agencies, businesses, and special interest groups, Stump said. I want to take the decision on voting privileges back to our individual boards. Stump also mentioned he anticipated 2 other water districts in Mono County, both of whom had their dues paid by the county, going along with his position. His logic was simple. The current 11-member board is made up of elected board members on eligible agencies under the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. All these representatives are replaceable, Stump said. Now, the Joint Powers Agreement that formed the structure of the OVGA calls for representation from state and federal agencies. For example, California's Department of Fish and Wildlife, mutual water companies, and environmental groups. Now, Ken Toy, president of the Meadow Creek Mutual Water Company, has been waiting for Mutual to be included. He was not happy, noting the SGMA was amended to allow mutuals to participate through a memorandum of understanding. Mary Roper with the Owens Valley Committee, and a motherload of information on water issues in Inyo County. Wasn't happy either. Urge you to see our website, sierrawave.net, for Deb Murphy's full report. Also, Deb notes that if there's a moral to the Marty Williams and residents of North Street and Wilkerson tussle over a 41-unit storage facility, it's try to avoid getting a conditional use permit. Here's the deal. In early October, Marty Williams appealed Inyo's Planning Commission decision not to grant him a CUP on the parcel at the corner of North and Gherkin. Now, that parcel is zoned C2, allowing for commercial uses, but not storage facilities. An abandoned store sits on the land now. After listening to a frustrated Williams and North Street residents who really didn't want those storage units, the Inyo County Board of Supervisors strongly suggested Williams, the locals, and the Inyo County Planning Department sit down and see if there was a way to make the project work. They all came back to the board last Tuesday, still in a deadlock. But the deal was sealed. Marty Williams would install fencing around the entire perimeter with a gate and automatic locks and limit the use from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Deb Murphy also has notes from several meetings last week, including the Inyo County Board of Supervisors. Agricultural Commissioner Nate Reed gave the Inyo Soups an update on the commercial cannabis licensing, including an ETA of the first licenses possibly next month. Now, the issue before the Inyo County Board of Supervisors was what Reed described as a high bar of 80% on the weighted scoring system. Of the first 10 applicants, 4 failed, 2 with really low scores. The next batch of 20 applicants still in the running with modifications and should go before the board sometime in February. Nate Reed recommended staff continue with the scoring. Any change would require a change in the cannabis ordinance and suck up more time. Reed has yet to figure out the fee structure, the goal of which is cost neutrality for the county and dependent on the number of licenses issued. Now, once cannabis businesses get their licenses, they still have to go through the Inyo County Planning Department's conditional use permit process. And again, we urge you to see sierrawave.net for Deb's full reports on all of those stories. We'll be back with more news.